Hi guys, Chris here with Rainbow Guys DIY. I just found a really cool little end table at my local Goodwill that I think I'm gonna have some fun and redo and show you how I do it. Here's this little table I just picked up at the thrift store for a whopping $3.99. As you can see, it has definitely seen better days. It's got some serious damage right there. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to rectify that or not. So my plan is to sand and resurface the top and then paint the body probably like a light gray color. Not sure what I'm gonna do with the hardware yet. We will deal with that later. So as you can see, I am currently sitting in my living room. Our house was built in 1954 and at the time did not have a garage. It was built, I believe, with a carport. Later on down the road, that carport was enclosed to create a garage, but when we purchased the house, that garage had been closed off and made into a room of some sort. Not really sure what its intended purpose was. It does have a door to the outside, and then it had a door into the what we're using as the master bedroom closet. So we shut that off, put a door into the living room. It's currently my sewing studio, which is a disaster right now, so I would show you, but I won't. And so we don't have a garage. We don't really have a space to do these kinds of projects, so our house tends to get kind of dusty because we're either doing it in the kitchen or in the living room, depending on the size of the project. We do have a shed in the backyard, but it's full of stuff and it's not very accessible. And later this summer, we are hoping to do a project video where we convert that shed into a greenhouse. So very excited about that. Definitely stick around. Hopefully we get that project done. We shall see. All right, now that I have all of the stains sanded off of the top and the body of it scuffed up enough to paint, I'm gonna get started. I wanted to show you the color I decided on. So it is by Behr, just from the Home Depot. It is called Cintroette. Probably can't see that too well. It's kind of a weird chartreuse color. Ignore that spot right there. And the top of it, I am going to stain with Jacobine. So I think it'll be an interesting mix. I like things a little funky, so we'll see how it turns out. Hopefully I'm not completely disappointed in it. I do still need to sand the little ridge around the edge where the sander couldn't get in. And there's a spot on the back where I think I over sanded a little too much. I thought that this was a solid wood top, but it is a veneer. So I nicked it up a little, but I'm hoping that the stain is going to be dark enough that it kind of blends away. Don't really notice it, but it is just for me. It's gonna go in my bedroom eventually. So I won't be too picky about it. I was able to get the black stain a little bit lighter. It's not perfect, but it definitely is a lot less noticeable, and I'm hoping after we condition the wood and stain it, that it'll be even less noticeable. You can see it here. Again, it's a little more muted than it used to be. So I am going to prime this first. I only got the little color sample size of the paint, so I want to make sure that it covers it well. So I'm going to start off with a white base, and then hopefully this will be enough. After I have it sanded and painted, I am going to finish it off with a layer of finishing wax. If you've never used finishing wax, it is amazing. It puts a nice hard finish on whatever surface you put it on. It's most commonly used after chalk painting something, but it can be used with regular paint, stain, raw wood, whatever your finish is. Okay, let's get to it. Oh, you totally can't see this. Let's try that again. Oh, so what's up? All right, that is probably as good as I'm going to get it, and it'd be good enough for me. So now I am going to wipe it down with a damp paper towel, get all the sawdust off it, and get it prepped for stain. I will be using this pre-stain wood conditioner. It is supposed to help it not be so blotchy once it is stained. All right, important to always read the directions on your can. We are going to brush it on against the grain, wipe it off with the grain, and then let it sit for 30 minutes before staining. This is oil-based, so in order to clean your brushes, you do need mineral spirits. I just went and bought a cheap $1 brush so I can just toss it when I'm done. Not a huge fan of oil-based products just because the cleanup is difficult, but when it comes to wood stain, I think it works better and it will protect better, so I go with that. Any paint I definitely go with latex as my preferred paint. All right, I'm just wiping this down with a slightly damp paper towel. It is more dry than damp. I just want to get all of the sawdust off of here so it does not interfere with the stain or the paint or the wood conditioner or whatever I end up brushing onto it. So you can see there's quite a bit of sawdust left over from sanding it. Now I could have used a chemical stripper. They even have some more natural strippers available. But since this was such a small piece, I didn't really feel it'd be worth it just for the top. Since I am priming and painting the sides, I didn't need to get all of the surface off, just kind of scratch it up so it has something to stick to. Now, most of the furniture in our house, I've really been going for more of a mid-century modern kind of feel. But for $4, I really couldn't pass this up. Our bedroom is a little more eclectic. I mean, even in here, you can see this piece back here is certainly not mid-century modern. I painted that piece many, many, many years ago. And we have another piece similar to it in our kitchen. So it's kind of a mix. I'm drawn towards the mid-century modern, but I certainly don't rule anything else out. So when you're out there shopping, just go for something that you really like the look of the shape more than anything. Even some shapes can be changed. Like on this side, if I really didn't like this scallop, I could easily chop that off and have it be straight across. Put a piece of trim to cover it so that it'd be straight across. Lots of options. And if you find a piece like this for cheap enough, you know, you're not really risking a whole lot. You can put some work into it and really fall in love with a piece that is completely custom, completely your own. All right, this is the very first time I have ever used this, so we'll see if I like it. Yeah, let's do it. Oh, do I need to shake this? Stir the contents thoroughly before use. I need something to stir with. Okay, let's get stirring. If this is anything like polyurethane or most wood stains, you don't want to shake the can because you will be introducing air bubbles into the finish, which is not something you want. Ooh, it is stanky. We're just gonna give that a quick stir. Make sure there's no gunk at the bottom. Definitely make sure you do this in a well-ventilated area. Got the window open, so we should be good. Also a small piece, so hopefully it will be over quickly. And then once I'm done filming, I will probably turn on a fan so I don't stink myself out. Just down here very carefully. My drop cloth is lined with plastic, but I don't know how much I trust it, and I need more paper towels to wipe this off. I should start a counter of how many times I have to get up because I forgot something. right, let's see how this works. With the wood conditioner on, I can definitely see where I went through the veneer. I don't know what kind of wood this is on top. I'm thinking it's probably cherry. I'm not good with my wood species. But if it's cherry on top, it's probably just a pine plywood underneath. It's very yellow. So I'm assuming that's pine because pine is cheap. All right, we are gonna let this sit for 30 minutes and then I will apply my first coat of stain. Yeah, you can see it on the camera. It got a lot darker after putting on the wood conditioner. So I may end up doing a couple coats of stain to get this really, really, really dark until I am happy with the outcome. It's been 30 minutes, so now I'm going to start staining. Gonna look like. First coat is done. I think it probably looks darker in person than it does on camera. It says you can apply a second coat after 2 hours. Definitely feel I'm going to need a second coat. I want it nice and dark, so maybe even a third coat. So I'm going to set a timer and I'll be back. All right, so I think I have 5 coats of stain on it at this point, and it's probably as dark as it's gonna get. So I'm going to move on to priming the base. I've got 2 coats of primer, and now I'm ready to start painting. This is the color. I decided not to go with gray. It is Cintroette, kind of a funky chartreusey color. See how it is? I have done 3 coats of paint, and I think I ended with 5 coats of stain on top. So now I'm going to finish it off with this finishing wax. So you can use this instead of like a polyurethane or anything else. I really like the finishing wax because it dries very hard and lasts very well. So to use it, it's pretty simple, and I already know that I forgot a paintbrush. One moment. So you'll want a nice stiff bristle brush. This is just a cheap $1 or something brush from Home Depot. So you can see the wax in there. And I have some t-shirt scraps to buff it out. So you want to just load up your brush. I have seen some people take a chunk out of the can and wad it up or wrap it in the t-shirt. That works also, but you want to spread it out. Doesn't have to be super uniform because you are going to wipe it off. You want to get it all good and covered, and then leave it on for 5 to 10 minutes, and then come back with your soft cloth and shine it up. All right, now I'm just gonna buff it out. You just kind of go with the grain, and as you're rubbing it, it starts to shine. It is somewhat of a matte finish, but it is a very nice protective finish. The top is done. I'm going to do the same on the sides so it has a nice protection from being beat up. I'm sure over time it will still get beat up. That's fine. But I'd like to have it look nice for a little while. This is actually I think the first piece of furniture I've done that didn't have more of a distressed finish. You can see on this piece back here, I don't know how well it shows up on camera. I always have a hard time photographing it. It is purple. It's aubergine is the actual color name. It's spray painted, and it has bits of teal and yellow and other colors poking out from where I sanded it down to make it look a little more distressed. That was actually a fun technique. You layer on the colors, and then you do your final color or your main color spray paint, and then you go over it with wood stain, which is oil based and interacts with the spray paint and actually rubs it off. So without sanding, you can just rub it and you start to see some of the colors poke out from underneath. Kind of a fun technique I was experimenting with. I don't know if I came up with it. I had never seen anyone else do it. And I was just playing around with different paints that I had left over on a different piece, and I liked how it came out. So I did it. All right, it is all done. I did end up replacing the handles, something a little more modern looking from the old. So all in all, not so bad for a piece I picked up for $3.99. So if you like this video and want to see more projects, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and share us with your friends so we can build our channel. Thanks everyone.